Right. So welcome to August 18 weekly overview, where I'm going to break down a few currency pairs and I'm going to really dive into this. Let me share my screen. So I'm going to look at the index first, see what we're going to be looking at for the rest of this week, and see which currency pair is actually stronger. All right. So let's be on the 1 hour time frames for all of these pairs here. All right, so we're going to start with the Swiss franc versus the US dollar. So we can see here, just looking at the 1 hour time frame, that we're seeing here, that's a complete downtrend. Downtrend setup. So we can see that the Swiss franc is still going to be continuously weak. Seeing this complete downtrend. We're looking at the Japanese yen. Kind of see it's very really similar. So we're seeing that it's really forming like a nice wedge here. I'm seeing this being weak, right? So Japanese yen pretty weak, strong to the downside. The US dollar showing that it's pretty weak as well too. Looking at the US dollar versus Australian dollar. So right now on this pair, on the index, we're looking at a complete range, right? So we want to see where the market flow is going to actually break out first. So we're in a current range right now, showing that, the US dollar is becoming strong. We're seeing a momentum of it being strong. So what I'm looking for is for it to break price and then retest and then be continuation. So that's showing that our base pair is strong and then our counter pair is weak. So we will be expecting the Australian dollar to be coming down. So that is one pair that we're going to keep in mind on Australian dollar pairs. The Canadian dollar versus the US dollar. See, we're seeing that it's becoming strong, right? So the Canadian dollar is becoming strong. Becoming strong. It's already on a support level. And then the US dollar is also being strong as well too. So both of these pairs are base and counter pairs, showing that it's pretty strong. So that is another pair that we're going to keep an eye on. And then we're looking at our US dollar versus the euro, right? So as you guys can see, we're at a resistance level here. If the market flow right here actually closes where this previous candle closed, which it did, we got a nice rejection already. I'm expecting the euro dollar to be weak, right? Euro dollar to be weak, and then the US dollar to be strong, because our base pair is showing that the US dollar is strong and euro is weak right here. So we see it came down to a nice support multiple times, creating high lows, come up. It did create a high low, but then it got rejected, created a new high. So we are going to see the euro pairs be dropping and the US dollar becoming a continuation to the upside. So this is a complete uptrend on the US dollar versus the euro. And then lastly, we're looking at US dollar versus NZD dollar. As you guys could see, it already came down to a low. The US dollar is still showing momentum. As we're seeing, there's no bearish candles in sight. So the US dollar is becoming strong. And then we will see the NZD dollar becoming weak, right? So US dollar strong, NZ dollar weak, right? So now I'm going to dive down into the Swiss franc, since we already had the Swiss franc beginning to come down, right? So let's take a look at Swiss franc, right? So we're already at a nice resistance level here. Resistance level, it failed to come up. So we are going to see this not only come down, but I want to see it come down so it creates a new low. So we are going to see market structure come down first, right? So we wanted to come down, create a nice double bottom, then take off to the upside. USD versus Peso. So we saw a lot of huge retracements here. So we are huge retracement. So it did come down to a nice support. So I also see this becoming a continuation and surpassing this previous high to create a new high. So this is a completely uptrend market. We said in our previous setup on the index that the US dollar is strong. So we're going to see Peso going up. Seeing UJ now, right? So right now it is forming a typical pattern that we're really familiar with. So making a nice pennant. So we gotta see where the market structure is gonna break first, right? But we look like we already came down to a nice support. It's been pushing to the upside. Pushing to the upside, creating highs and lows. So if we see the market structure go up and break this trend line here, right? We want it for it to come back down, retest, and then it'd be a continuation to the upside. So that's on UJ. But if it doesn't, then we're going to be doing the complete opposite. Let it come down, make its correction, then it's going to retest, and then we'll be looking for the impulse. Because I still believe that the way how we're looking, it got rejected from this wick, showing an indication that we probably might get another rejection where this previous high, and then come down to meet the support. As we saw in our index, that the Japanese pair is weak compared to the US dollar as well too. USD versus the Canadian dollar. You can see here, it made its push, came down, broke that previous support, it became resistance, right? So it already made a nice morning star down here in the bottom. So we could see this continuously to be going up, since looks like it's already done its correction. Like it's done its correction. So where we could see on this previous resistance, I mean, that became support. We expect it to go up, come back down to finish that right shoulder, because they made that left shoulder right here. We wanted to go up to make that correction, and go up as the impulse, then come down as a correction, and then be the full impulse move. So we want to see this, actually being played out. I know this is on the 30-minute time frame, but if you look at it from the 1 minute, you can see it overall as the overall picture. That is what it's looking like. This is still in a complete uptrend. And then we have, USD versus Now the South African rand, so it's USD ZAR. So also this is completely an uptrend as well too. You can see that it finished doing its correction and now it's making this impulse move to create a new high. Also on the support level as well. So this is a complete uptrend. And then we have the index, right? So I still have the index. It's been really building up, been following really good market structure here. Came down to support, creating multiple high lows, right? Multiple high lows, so we could see this continuously to keep going up. So overall, looking at the 1 hour time frame, we see a whole complete teacup pattern that's actually happening. We're seeing nice flow of creating high highs and high lows. So we will see this come up to this previous high that actually happened at August 1st. So beginning of this month. So we should see this continuously to keep going up as the impulse move, and then look for it to drop. So I'm mostly focusing on the USD pairs, the British pound pairs. Also, we'll look at the indices as well. As you guys can see, we are looking at a nice wedge that's forming here. So as the US dollar is beginning to gain its momentum, we should see the indice pairs coming down. So that'll be pretty interesting to see how all this plays out. Let's clean up all this old markup that I have here. All right, so we should see this already came down and broke that former support that became resistance and then broke again. And we are seeing kind of like a small rejection. So I do see all indice pairs coming down to meet this previous support. So most of you guys know NAS 100, XP 500, they all move identical to each other. Let's keep it nice, short, and sweet, and simple. So this should be a really interesting week, as it is. Let's bring this to 3 charts here. Let's do a 30-minute. So we probably might see some movements within either tomorrow or Tuesday, but I definitely see these coming down as market structure opens up for the morning around 7 MST time. And then we should see some momentum and some news and earnings being reported for the indice pairs. But these are the pairs I'm looking at, all the British pound pairs, all the British pound pairs, all the USD pairs that I show you. So USD, Swiss franc, USD versus the Japanese yen. Let's see, what else am I missing? Yes, Swiss franc, peso, Japanese yen, the USD ZAR, and USD CAD. So those are pairs I'm going to be focusing for the rest of this week. So just be on alert on my trade ideas, and then we should be having another prosperous week and capturing these pips. So I hope you guys enjoyed this weekly overview. Stay tuned for the rest of this week on my New York sessions. So we'll hop on and hopefully catch some live trade setups.